All right, let's get started. Welcome. I hope everyone's going well. This camera is slightly crooked. There we go. We've got it better. Yeah, let's jump straight into it today. So we're continuing where we left off last time, which is dealing with the GDPR wizard. So we wanted to create a VueJS type of situation where we send the data up to. Here's the thing. So in case we got something down here, we send it all the way up. I just realized I should be charging my bike light. Damn it. Why do I remember these things when I start streaming? All right. Thinking. Where am I? Let's go into source JavaScript, VueJS. We have the GDPR. So here it is. So we're putting the data up into here. So we've got some data. It's not the only bits of data that we'll actually have up here. We'll probably actually have the search terminology and all of that up here. With the idea being that, yeah, we just utilize what's up here. Alright, so socks. Okay, I'm just like, oh, sweetie. Okay. GDPR. Alright, so we got this. I've just got to go over here, npm run watch. Alright, sweet. No, I don't have that running. Alright, cool. Let's run that. Let's hit refresh. I'm going to jump in as the dark admin. We are going to go over and do GDPR wizard. Like so. So the idea is we can't hit next yet, because it'll be like, please select an object. So we're going to select a customer and then we'll go next. At the moment, this isn't working, and we're going to set this all up and get this all working and stuff like that. So we'll definitely need the object type, because we'll reference that in the next pane. Okay. Sorry, give me a little second to yawn. We also have the tabs. This one would be object. So I'm going to scroll down. We want to change object results. This is what we want to do. We want to get rid of this. All right, easy done. What we want to do is update VueJS conditions, and then what we also want to do is sorry, I'm just trying to think. Update VueJS data. We can actually do this in one hit. So what we can do is this $store.dispatch, and then we could go and dispatch something up here. Now, the reason why it's going to be dispatch is because of the in action. There's a little bit of business logic with this. So what we want to do is we want to go update GDPR, and up here we want to go object. So GDPR object, that is just going to be an empty string at the moment. and we've reached our first ad break. I am going to quickly put my bike on charge, my bike light on charge, and get some water. I will be right back. For those on YouTube, we run ads every half an hour on Twitch, so no one gets pre-rolled ads. They're not long. Alright, I am back. Couldn't find the USB port, so I'll just charge the lights on my computer. We've got about 15 seconds left for the ads. And here we go. Alright, charging light. Yeah, I'll need that tomorrow. And welcome back, everyone. Okay, cool. So we've got the GDPR object, which we want up here. So we want update GDPR object. Now I keep forgetting what the actions are like. So I am going to use the Kanban view to double check what the actions are. So we've got mutations. So we need the commit, state, and payload. Okay, cool. And the commit is up here. And now this is... Okay. And okay, I'm going to actually change this to process GDPR object. Okay, this will make sense. And then up here we'll have the update GDPR object. Sorry, it's been a hot minute since I've done a lot of this, so I've just got to remember the format and stuff like that. So, all right, cool. It is a function, and then we've got okay, cool. And then up here it's state. Okay, that's also a function. So down here will be state and commit, and we got the payload. We don't have that because it's a function. Actually, no, ignore me. It's that there. And then for down here, it is state and commit. And then we got our payload. Or something like that. All right, cool. So the first thing that gets sent up is, we also got to update the validation. All right, cool. So I'll have down here, update validation data. That will be state and payload. Easy done. I'll be like that. In this sort of case, this will be very, very simple. What we'll actually do is we'll get the let validation data equals state dot validation data. Easy done. And then we go, so get a copy of the validation data. We want to mutate the copy. So validation data, and then what we want to do is we want to add in the payload.tab ID, which we'll get, and that will be payload.value. that will be state dot validation data equals validation data. All right, so validation data is done. This one here, this will be just state dot GDPR object equals payload dot GDPR object. It's not going to be overly complicated. This is going to be very, very simple. And the reason why I do it like this is I'm going to utilize this update validation data dependent on any of these particular fields. We might actually have a bit of logic for any of them. All right, going down here, we've got this process GDPR object. So straight off the bat, what we want to do is we want to commit to update GDPR object. We're opening up this. We are just going to go GDPR object. It should be, yep, GDPR object, and that's going to be the payload dot GDPR object. So we don't care what that is at all. We're just passing it through. It could be blank or it could be something in there, and that's perfectly fine. The next thing is we want to commit update GDPR object. This will be we need the tab ID, and that's going to be tab 0, because this step only happens on tab 0. So yeah. All right. So we're at tab 0. What we want to do is we've got the validation data, so the value. Oh, that really should be. Oh no, value works. Value works in this sort of case. That will be value and our conditions. And this is where I've got to think of the conditions. So I'm just going to go up here and go const condition 1 equals the payload dot GDPR object does not equal nothing. Const condition 2 equals payload dot GDPR object does not equal null. So it's got to meet those two conditions. So condition 1 and condition 2. And that's it. That's the bit of logic here. So, yeah, that should work wonders. All right. Oh, sorry. Very odd. And then that should actually be that. So yeah, that's updating the validation. Right, I'm happy with that. That should actually be condition 2. Alright. And then all we need to do is call that downstairs now. So I'm going to put this up here because it's up higher. I'm going to close these for the moment. So down here, this is the... Here we go. So we kind of want to deal with this particular one. So we're down here at the moment, and what we want to do is we want to go, all right, cool. Watch, object results. I'm just wondering if there is a way we could, and I change it directly, but however, that being said, there's a business process, and this is the only place where we're editing it. Everywhere else we'll be reading it. So in this sort of case, it's fine having a local variable down here instead of it up there, and we just watch it and then we just send up the data. So object results, send results up to Vuex. So this will be this $store dot dispatch. All right, cool. And what we want to do is we want to process GDPR object. And then in here, what we want to do is we're only actually referencing the GDPR object. So we're just going to copy that. And it's just that. And that's as simple as it gets. So, having a look at this, it also means we're no longer emitting stuff. We don't need to worry about that. This is actually simplifying the code quite a bit, which is great news for us. So yeah. All right. Let's bump over to here. Let's hit refresh. I am going to make sure that we are disabling the cache. So we want to go over here. We want to go view. Also, Socks is looking extra cute at the moment. We want to change this to, let's say, customer. But before I do, I want to have a look at the Vuex. And we want to look at the GDPR. So we've got nothing in there. Tab 0 is false. If we change this to customers. Oh. It's not a function. Alright, I've broken something. Okay, not a problem. I've definitely broken something. One of the mutations, drag to a different column. All right. We do. Yeah, this $store. Okay, we've marked up something, so let's just fix it up. I'm just going to paste this in. I'm just going to put that there just to double check everything. So yeah, that should be working. Do we have it? And then we've got the object results. Any socks? You're like, haha. Hey, sweetie. You're like, All right. I'm just going to do that. I'm going to put that in there. I'm just wondering. It's going to refresh. I'm going to change this. So yeah, we still get that. An unhandle X watcher. Commit upgrade object is not a function. Oh, I've done something wrong. All right, so it is getting into here. It's not hitting that correctly. So I'm just going to see how we do it in the Kanban wizard. Await dispatch. I've done it wrong. All right, not a problem. So it's actually dispatch and then the payload. And then what we want to do is we want dispatch and then something like that. So I am just going to copy that. I am going to paste it into here and we're going to delete that. This isn't going to be awaited or anything like that. So what we want to do is dispatch. And we want to, oh wait, dispatch is to do this stuff. So we do want commit. Oh, it's just a commit. Yeah, I've just got this wrong. So it's just a commit. We send the type. Okay. Sorry, I've gotten this absolutely wrong. It has been a while since I've done this. And that would be update validation data. All right, sweet. So that should be it now. So I'm just gonna hit refresh. We're gonna click on this. And thank you very much for the follow, Max E Mus FDP. Thank you very much for the follow. I do apologize for absolutely ruining your name then, but welcome, Max. All right, we've got that working. So if we have a look at the view, we have a look at, there we go. We've got customer and now we've got true. So in theory, we could set this up to do the next effect and stuff like that. So yeah, that should work very, very easily. So what I want to do now is we actually want to go into our GDPR wizard. We want to fix this up. So we've got map getters. We've got the validation data, get validation data, sweet. So when we hit on the next tab, what we want to do is we want to go over here. And I don't know if my chat's working tonight because Nightbot's not hitting it, but Nightbot's not hitting YouTube either, which is a bit weird. Give me a couple of seconds. Sorry, I just noticed this, and we should be getting a couple of chat messages coming through. Oh, yep, that's working. Thank you very much, Poop You Chew. Great name. Welcome. I will say that name gave me a little bit of a giggle. How are you going? Hopefully you're going well. And thank you very much for the test. I think it's just Nightbot is down. All right, so we've got next tab. We've got the current tab is greater than 4. Then we return. So this validation data. So we should actually have validation data. So we don't, but we should. There it is. It is with the map get. Hang on, I might have gotten this wrong. Yeah, I've gotten that wrong. And computer is an object. Alright, cool. Made a little mistake. There we go. Love the cat. Was also very helpful. Yeah, she likes to supervise. She makes sure she sits on the keyboard and presses down randomly on the mouse. And sometimes she'll cack at me for love. So yeah. This is socks, by the way. Alright, so if I hit refresh, I go customer, there I go, we've got that, so that's all working. I should be able to hit next now, perfect. That's warning is perfectly fine, that was on the previous page anyway. That's just because we'll probably show quite a lot of data and we won't actually wrap it around. So, yeah. Alright. So I'm just having a good think about the wizard search now. So, the instant someone picks something from here, we're going to fetch data. And then hopefully by the time they get to this page, that data will have been grabbed and started rendering out here. Yeah, the data depends on what they pick. So for example, if they pick customer on here, over here, we're going to have organization that they then pick from. Actually, no, we're going to have customers, a list of all customers that are not deleted in the system. If it's organizations, once again, list of all organizations, not in the system. And then user will be a list of all the users in the system. So, yeah, sucks. What are you doing? She's like, I'm getting up. That's what I'm doing. So, what we've got to do is when someone picks this, we've actually got to request those results. Yes. So I'm just having a good think of how to do this properly. All right. So what I want to do is not on this widget, but on this particular widget, we actually want to handle that. All right, so I'm going to go over here. We're happy with the wizard object. We now want to deal with the wizard search. So I'm just double clicking on the search. What we've got is this. We won't need props. Oh, that's another thing. Oh, that's at the top level. We just had data. We'll need data. We'll need the components. Yeah, we won't need much. So up here, what we're going to do is import the nSelect from naive UI. Down here, we're going to write in components. That is like this, and we're going to go nSelect. So we're going to use this component on this particular page. Now, we'll also need data. And then we'll have search objects. And that's just going to be an empty array. Now, oops, that's meant to be that. And then we'll have a watch. We'll also have a computed. computer is also an object. So the next thing we want to do, VueJS, is import map getters, from VueJS. And then down here, what we'll have is .map getters, and we'll have the GDPR object, and that will be that will be get if I go to the VueJS, that's to get validation data. Oh, we haven't actually put it in. Get GDPR object. That will be, we'll use the state for that. We'll pass through the return state dot GDPR object. Okay. So we've got that. With the wizard search. Alright, I'm just trying to think what other data. We don't need the validation. Don't know view, widespread computed versus computed map getters. If just in case I need to put anything else in there, and I like to follow patterns. Strangely enough, to this sort of point where, yeah, you're right, I could actually simplify this a lot simpler. So yeah, that's just really it. That's just really, down at the end of the day, personal preference. And thank you very much for the follow, Poop Archu. I really will say that name is pretty good. Okay, cool. So, I'm just wondering. So I haven't thought about this widget that much, so bear with me as I think. As I think out loud. Didn't know if I was missing anything. Oh yeah, no, you weren't missing anything. I just patterns, really. Okay, so we've got the search. If I go on this page, I'll need the search. It will be a simple end select where we've got the options equals. Ooh, that will be the search options. Search objects. Something's telling me I'm talking about patterns. Yeah, I've done this wrong. Alright, so the options will be, if I have a look at what we've done here, we're essentially doing this. I'm just going to copy this. So to do the reason why I'm just copying it is it's just going to be easy. And we've reached an ad break. Alright, and for those on YouTube, we run ads every half an hour on Twitch so people don't get pre-rolled ads when they join. You guys don't get ads, don't worry about it. So yeah, I also don't like to sort of continue on with what's happening because people miss out on the content. So we just do this. You get to see me and Socks. And thank you very much for the subscription, Poo Achu. Hopefully you don't get ads anymore. If you are still in an ad, a refresh will hopefully solve that problem. So yeah, greatly appreciated. Welcome. For those actually wondering, all the money we actually sort of collect streaming and stuff like that goes back into NearBeach. We're currently saving up to hopefully hire a UI UX dev for a short time, you know, to sort of guide us into the right direction. So yeah, thank you very much. It is greatly appreciated. Oh yeah. All right, where was I? Oh, we've still got ads. Oh yeah, 20 seconds left. Yeah, tonight's going to be slow. I do apologize. I don't think I'm fully awake. So, yeah. And about 3 seconds left of the ads. Might as well jump back onto this screen. And welcome back. No time for that, fair enough. No time for ads, yeah. So, the reason why I've copied this is we're just going to go through this and we are gonna just gonna, it's the same structure, we might as well just use it. So with the search, search for the, I think we're going to pass through what we want. So we've got the GDPR object, search for the you wish to remove from NearBeach's data. Please note we can only focus on one object at a time. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Down here we've got the selected objects. Instead of this, it'll be the object search objects, like so, and then the value will be search objects, search object results, or search results, I should say. Okay. Oh yeah. So every October we sort of do Hacktoberfest, so we get a couple of people contributing stuff through that. So yeah. We also have another person who does contribute quite often too. So yeah. We got search results, LMNOP, QR. All right, so search results. That's just going to be like that. We're also going to do a watch on the search results, and once again, because this is the only place actually writing to it, we're going to cheat. We're going to just send the data upstream. So yeah, this.dollar.store.net. Sorry, dispatch. And then we'll fix this up in a second. So we've got the GDPR, the GDPR VueJS up here. We've got the object. I'm just wondering if that should be object type. Yeah. I'm not sure. So we've got GDPR object. So that will be the custom. Yeah, it should be object type. And then we should have GDPR object ID. That will be 0 to start off with. And then, yeah, we just gotta update this. Update GDPR object ID. That will be state and payload. That will be state.gdpr object ID equals payload.gdpr object ID. Easy done. We don't need to rewrite the wheel there. Down here, we're just going to type in type. Up here, we've got to make sure that this is switched around like that. Down here, get the GDPR object type. That's fine. We need type in here, like so. We need ID also. In there. And then get validation data. Yep, alright, cool. Now I do need to actually fix the search one. So this will now be the type in there. And that will do type. hang on, I've done a watch in here. So when we got the GDPR object type, we actually want to add code. Oh, I've knocked that up. All right. Just want to do the object type here. I'm just going to quickly double check that I've got all this working. So when we update this to customer, we get customer, we get true over there, organization, and then user. Sweet. So going back down here, we've got the all that kind of fun stuff. We've got all of that. So I'm happy to say next. Then we've got to get the data in here. So this would be not selected object, but search. And then we're going to go GDPR object type. All right, and then we got the those in there like that. That should be perfectly fine. Now with the watch, we want the search results to do something. Why is my watch? Because that's got to be an object. And we also want the GDPR object type to do something too. So we'll add in some code in a minute. We might actually have the methods in here. So up here, oops. If the if this dot G object type equals nothing, or this .gdp object type equals null, we don't want it to do anything. What we want to do is we want to empty object type clear search data, and that's all we want to do. So this dot search results, sorry, not search results, search objects will equal a blank array. Like so. We'll just clear it out, and that's perfectly fine. Then we just return. Else, fetch the data we want. So that will be down here methods. So that will be get search objects. Like so. So when the search results are changed, all right, so this is where we update the object ID. All right, so this dollars store dot dispatch, and this will be update, because we can update the ID directly. Oh no, we want to do a validation check and stuff like that, because just in case we clear the data and so forth like that. Remove equals when sorry, that was wrapped around me. Remove triple equals when checking for null, and you'll cover undefined 2. I have found in the past that if I've got a equals, let's say like that, I don't know if you can actually see that. So I have found that sometimes I've got empty strings, and then if I go a triple equals null, that's false. So that's why I'm covering both. And then if I, let's go var b, yeah, let's go undefined. So easy done. B triple equals null. That will also be false. But yeah, you're saying if that equals that, then yeah, that is true. However, the reason why we're using triple equals and all that kind of stuff. We have a program called Deep Source that goes through our code and checks it for smells and stuff like that, and the double equals constantly flags as an issue. In fact, even the PyCharm flags it as an issue and stuff like that. So after much debating, we're like, let's just be verbose about this and just use the triple equals. So yeah. But for the undefined, in this sort of case, that undefined shouldn't occur. And the reason being is we are actually defining the value to be an empty string at the start. So yeah. Yeah, and I also find that the weak equality works a lot better and actually looks a lot nicer. But yeah, our deep source was throwing up massive code smells, and our IDE was throwing up too, and everything was just complaining, and I'm just like, oh, fine, we'll go with the triple equals. So yeah, we did actually have a discussion about this a long time ago. So if we do that, if A equals null, yeah, you can see this comes up with an issue, and it's just like, wait, let me click on the thing, thank you. Yeah, it just comes up with problems. However, if I do something like that. Alright, so we want to, getting into here, we don't want to update the object ID directly. Oh, that should be the process object type. So I'm going to go back into here. Do that. I can get rid of that. Alright, going into here, we want to process GDPR object ID. We want commit. Payload. Alright. Yeah, it's just, it comes up with the whole thing being weak equality shouldn't be used and all that kind of fun stuff. At least it did when we were actually having this discussion. So let's go var A equals that, and then if A equals this, we're gonna do something in here, return, and then we want to, let's say, var B equals hello world, and stuff like that. At the moment, it's probably not gonna do it because I've just, oh, will you let me click on it? Alright, it's talking about other stuff. I swear to you, I am clicking on it. Yeah, it says replace that with triple equals and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I know. So if I put a null in there, and then it says simplify that to false. It's probably because it's thinking I've just declared it up here and stuff like that. If I go payload dot GDPR object ID, because that's what we'll probably end up doing. Oh, it's not complaining about it anymore. All right, it's giving us a. But yeah, we know I don't have docs on it. Give me a couple of seconds. I'm gonna see if we got one in the thing. I'm now worried about. No. All good. Sorry, give me 2 seconds. I've just got to do the. Make sure my phone number doesn't pop up. Because that has happened before. Not with GitHub, but other things. Oh man, I am going to see how long I last tonight. Alright, performance issues. Let's just go JavaScript. Let's go all issues. All issues. Alright, this is it. So here I go. What I'll do is I'll bump that over there. Yeah, pretty much. You turn it upside down and you type upside down. So yeah. Yeah, so this is what started the original conversation and stuff like that. This happened years ago, by the way. This is like the first time we actually started using deep source. So, yeah. Alright, getting back into this. So this is probably going to be exactly the same down here. What we're going to do is commit. We're going to go type, upgrade, GDPR, object ID, and then we're going to have GDPR object ID is going to be the payload.gdpr object ID. Alright, easy done. I'm making sure that, yeah, that's just connected up to there. The next sort of thing is get validation conditions. And I am going to cheat, because that will be 6, 7. That should be like that, and then like that, and then like that. I've realized that I haven't put a little thing on there. So this will be update validation. This will be validation 1. This will be, ooh, I've left object on there. So that should actually be type. And that should be ID. Okay. Oh, and have it done. Okay, so this will update it no matter what. So in case the user drops something or anything like that, we can always remove the condition and so forth like that. So that should be quite simple. If we now go back down to here, it will be update the GDPR yeah, it should be that. I don't know why that isn't finding it. That will be the ID. When you mean multiple updates in one call, yeah. So a good example of that, let's say, I'm trying to think if I actually do this already, and I do. I actually do this already. So in the, I think the Kanban board one, we've actually got an init. So we have an init payload. And the idea is with that init payload is we'll update the card results, the column results, the level results, and open the card on load results. So this only ever gets called when the page is refreshed or someone goes to the page for the very first time, and we just do it all in one hit. So yeah. Like commit to the embedded objects instead of yep, to prevent DOM updating twice if there's yes. So yeah, that's why we do this, is to prevent the DOM doing multiple calls and stuff like that. I'm a backend dev, so I was just thinking through browser logic. Fair enough. It's not always plausible to do it unless you do something really, really tricky. Yeah, it's not always plausible to do this. So sometimes you just got to simplify it and be like, listen, I've just got to do two state calls. So yeah, but in this sort of case with the init payload, yeah, easy, done. All right, so we've got the GDPR. We've got that. But yeah, you're right. What we could potentially do is we could... The reason why this is in actions is because there's a little bit of business logic here. We do have to do that. But we could potentially have a... it both update the validation and the payload. But we're doing something really ultra tricky up here then, with the mutations, and I kind of want the code readable in that sort of case. That and these happen so fast towards each other, I think it should be fine. Yeah, separation of logic. Oops, wrong screen. Where was I? So we're sending up the search results, and that should be fine. That sets the validation and all that kind of stuff rolling. We just need to get the search results. So if this is just a double check, the object type is nothing, or this .gdpr object type equals null, we just return. If there is no object type, we don't get any data. All right, easy done. And then we're just going to do the Ajax call. So now we're going to start doing the backend sort of stuff for this. So the idea is, when we contact, let's say we go to previous, let's say we're picking up customer, and we go, the instant this customer changes, we want the backend to send us all not deleted customers to the front end with data set up so the backend's doing all the heavy lifting, and we just get the data and shove it into here. So it'll be as simple as this $Ajax .post. We'll have a URL in a minute. I don't think we'll have data to send. I'm just trying to think. Should I have it as data to send? And this particular thing won't actually end up in the API, so we won't include this in the API. Becomes a little too dangerous then. So we'll create our own endpoint, and I might as well. Yeah, so what will actually happen is the backend will check that the user is not only logged in, but they are a super user. So there's a couple of decorators in Python that can do both of those without problem. Cookie or JT going with it. I'm not 100% sure how Django will handle this. From my understanding, it's a cookie, but I could be really incorrect about that. So, yeah. I do know I send the CRF token through. So that's set up every single time the person reloads the page. And I do believe it does send through authentication cookies and so forth like that. So we can actually have a quick look. If I don't have anything yet on this particular page, but let's say I go into, let's say this one. Let's open up this. Let's just, all right, cool. So if I go add to group, and let's say I'm going to add in the QA team, that will send something to the back end. And I do believe, so it's got the cross-site CRFF token. It's got the cookie there. So, yeah, it sends something. And I'm not 100% sure. There it goes. CRF, session ID. There it is. So it sends a session ID. And yeah, part of the cookies. All right, data to send. So this will be a const data to send equals new form data. Easy done. We've got data to send dot set, and this will be object type. And that will be this dot GDPR object type. Now I might go GDPR object type like that. There we go. So we'll put that in here, data to send. With the then, we'll have a response, which we do want to actually handle. So we'll just add code in here. And then we'll have a, oh yeah, it is catch. We'll have an error. And then we'll have a this $store.dispatch. We're dispatching a new toast. That will have a header cannot fetch search data. Sorry, I've forgotten all the, oh yeah, it is message. Extra classes danger. Yep. Cannot fetch search data, and then we're just going to go in here and go error. Easy done. Extra classes, that's just going to be background danger. And then delay is going to be 0, so it doesn't actually shut. All right, so I'm just used to them. So yeah. I mean, Ajax was quite similar to back before I started using jQuery. What was it called? Oh, I think it was just called Ajax. Yeah. Oh, hang on a minute. That's Axios. Sorry, not Ajax. So yeah, I guess I got used to it when I was using jQuery a long time ago. So I don't know if you can read that. Let me zoom in. There's a simple change one, not too bad, or anything like that. You're an old dev, used Ajax, I used chaining, callbacks, but hard to love it after changing the most. Fair enough, fair enough. Sometimes there is a better way that comes through and you use it and you're like, I just can't go back to the old way. I just can't. All right, so the response itself, oh, we've hit another ad break. Here we are. All right, I know I've got my Rubik's Cube around. I'm gonna try and solve it. We've also got Socks right in front of me. She's deciding to sit up. There she is. I'm gonna quickly solve this. For those on YouTube, we run ads every half an hour on Twitch, so people who join our channel on Twitch. Don't get pre-rolled ads. Don't worry, you guys don't get any ads. And we do this so no one misses out on any content. Yeah. Talking about trying to go back to the old ways and stuff like that, I don't think I could go back to the old ways of what I used to do with jQuery and all that kind of stuff. Nothing against jQuery, but just what I used to do to get Ajax, you know, the pages to work and stuff like that back in the old days. I would miss that templating. Alright, so almost done. I have not looked. Alright, we're about 5 seconds till ads are finished. I wish you could share. You can. Backlol cat is doing the same thing, sitting on my lap. Long as 100% black though. Oh yes, yeah, fair enough. I've got a black cat too. Socks is the tuxedo. She doesn't like the other black cat who was a stray until just recently. So yeah, his name is Patty. He doesn't pop on stream much. He's a bit timid and stuff like that. However, he's finally sort of relaxed around me, which is nice. So this will be this dot search objects equals response dot data. I think that's just going to be it. We're not going to send too much back from backend. So let's get. We just need a URL. Now we've got GDPR wizard. My other cat is a dog. Fair enough. Yeah, I don't have any dogs. I've lived with housemates with dogs and stuff like that. Long time ago. This is back before socks. And I had another cat called Toby Tripod. And yeah, he had those dogs wrapped around his paw. They loved him. Alright, so we've just got to get... I've just got to think of a good URL and stick with it. So we've got GDPR wizard. We could use GDPR wizard search object. Yeah, I'm just trying to think what would be a good URL. And I should not spend too much time on picking this URL at all. I mean, the other thing is we could do object data. We've also got one that will fetch data. I tell you what, I'm going to say this will be a root URL. I'll pass through root URL in a second. GDPR wizard. And then we'll do object. Because we're actually sending data to the backend. We're actually sending this GDPR object type, which will make sense in a minute. There's a... It ain't big. I mean, sure, what I could potentially do is I could just do GDPR wizard and then send the type through, for example, customer or organization and stuff like that and get it like that. However, I need to validate that the value is correct through Django forms. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, so we've got GDPR wizard. Yeah. The idea is this particular functionality won't be used as much as the other parts of NearBeach. So this is only in a very used case where someone has submitted a request for their data to be deleted. So yeah. So GDPR wizard, we're going to go object data. And, or I should say search data because we're on the search page. So if we have a look here, search page, and then I'll have data verification page. And so forth like that. Okay, now let's open up the URLs. We've got our GDPR wizard up here. What we want to do is we want to go path. We've got our GDPR wizard, and then we've got search data. Oh, did we say search data, or did I just? Yep, we said search data. And then what we want is GDPR wizard views.gdpr. We're just going to go like that. And we're going to have GDPR search data, like so. Now that doesn't exist so far, so we're just going to make that. So I'm going to scroll up to our views. So under NearBeach, I'll just do this right now. We've got our views, we've got our GDPR down here. And then what I want to do, I'm just going to copy these 3 lines because we need them. So this will be GDPR search data. So if we've got our request, we'll need to build a form. What I'm just going to do right now is just going to return a response. It's just going to be like that. Easy done. I just want to see if that's all connected up. So I'm just going to refresh the front page, refresh this. There we go, we're in. I'm going to delete all this, and then when I pick customer, oh, we've broken something. Root URL is not defined. Yeah, all right, not a problem. What I'm going to do, I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to open up this. Ah, wait, I needed that. This would be under URLs. We do have the root URL. Yeah, I forgot to actually go back down here to our wizard. Sorry, the wizard, this one. We didn't do the root URL here. That is part of the map getters. That will be root URL, and that will be get root URL. Easy done. So I'm just going to wait for a little while. That should be fine now. If I click on customer, now it's coming up with the same issue. I could have been a little too quick for this. So I'm just going to do that. GDPR wizard search. Hang on. I'm missing the next thing. This.root URL, because it's an object. Yeah, no reference to it. Yeah, I forgot the this. Okay, so we had to wait like a second or two for that to actually recompile. We just do this, and then we just do that, and then we got another error. That's perfectly fine. Invalid prop type check failed. For prop options, expected array got a string value. All right, that's not a problem. I'm not worried about that at all. What I'm doing is I'll delete that. We should, yeah, we've got some data. We've got a response back. Cool, yeah. I'm happy with that. And as you see, it sends that up there. So what I want to do is Django forms enum. Just because it's been a while. Okay. Cool, that's easy. We're going to do that right now. So we're going to build a form. So we're going to open up NearBeach. We want to open up the forms. It's right in front. There it is. We're going to call it the GPR object type. Sorry, everything's got to be in alphabetical order for me, otherwise I won't be able to find it at a later date. Check, check, delete. Maybe say D, E, F, G. There we go. Alright, cool. So this is going to be class GDPR object type form, and that's just going to be forms. Sorry, forms. Yep, like that. And then in here, we're going to do what we're doing here. So class object types, like so. How do they have it? Models.text choices. Ooh, okay. Hang on, I've mucked something up, haven't I? Yeah, that's model. Alright, hang on. So yeah, I just want forms.form. Why do they have model? I'm not sure. And then models text choices. Alright, I'm just going to open up the documentation. Yeah, I just wanted, this would probably be simpler to do. Yeah, this one will be a lot simpler to do. I'm just seeing, yeah, they've got choices. Yep, alright, cool. Easy done. So, I'm just copying this for reference. We're just pasting it in, once again, just for reference. In fact, I am going to split right. Just so I have it on the other screen. I'm going to do like that. Alright, cool. Get start. No. GDPR object type. Okay, so what I want to do is... This is models.model. Is this for forms? Or this is for models? Alright, no, I'm going crazy. Okay, let's Django forms. Choice field. Let's go to the documentation. Sorry, once again, I'm a little tired tonight. I do apologize. Choice field. So, choice field, default widget, empty value, normalizes a string. Alright, cool. Choices, either an iterable of two truples, or that. Or iterable. I know I've done something like this. So 460. Here we go. Okay, 809. 460. All right. So what I want to do, class GDPR. What was this? Object data form. This is just going to be forms.form. I knew I did something similar before. So what we actually want in here is GDPR object data equals forms dot. Now this will actually be a choice field. Required equals true. Choices equals, and this is where we do something like this, and we go organization. Right, so we'll have customer. And then we'll have user. All right. Now, that's all we need in this sort of case. So, going with the GDPR wizard sort of stuff, we'll just go up to line 5. We'll add in from NearBeach dot forms import GDPR wizard data form. All right, cool, like that. In here, what we want to do is form equals GDPR wizard form, and then we just go request.post. If not form dot is valid, we want to return HTTP bad response. Sorry, HTTP response bad request. So, and then we go form.errors. He's done, and we send that. So, that will then tell the front end, hey, something's gone wrong. Now, in this sort of case, now we've got the data. And there's a couple of ways we can do this. We can use a switch statement to be like, all right, cool, if it's this, then we get the data out of here like this, and then we just return that, and everyone's hunky-dory. Or we can build an object and be like, all right, cool, here's the value, cool, feed it into here, you get the value from this particular table, and then everyone's hunky-dory. I'm kind of leaning on that because we're sort of moving towards that pattern throughout NearBeach. In the sense that it saves us having a lot of if-else statements for doing the same sort of stuff. There is the problem of the use delete. And what I mean is, the users table doesn't have an isDelete field. It's just going to pull out every single user. In NearBeach, you shouldn't be deleting users because we have it cascading. You should just delete all their permissions, and then they can't access the system whatsoever. And that way you can set them up, and that also means that you don't have other people. Yeah, a bunch of reasons why. Alright, so give me a couple of seconds. I'm just having a good think about how I want to tackle this problem. And I think it might be the case that I need to do this in if statements. Now you might wonder, why not switch statements? And it's a good question, because this is perfect for a switch statement. The answer, if it lets me jump onto here, Give me... Hang on. There is a good answer. Same shit, different spell. Yeah. The reason why is because we're still supporting some versions of Python that don't actually have that built into it. I think the switch statements started around 3.10. We're still supporting 3.9 till the end of the year, so we've still got to do all of this stuff. There is a plan towards the end of this year when we actually do start releasing 0.32 to actually search all the code to try and get rid of as many of the if-else sort of blocks and make them a lot neater and a lot nicer and easier to read. And the switch statements will also be a good sort of solution there too. Where is this running? NearBeach actually has it running in Django, which is built off Python. And then we host it on Docker. But essentially, if you wanted to use it, you self-host. We don't offer it as a SaaS. So, in here, yeah. And we do actually have a couple of people self-hosting it. So, yeah, which is nice. I've got a couple of bug reports from them too, which is even better. So, what we want to do is here we want the GDPR object type. Ah, yeah, this is the object data form. No, I want type. So I've made a spelling mistake. Do apologize. It's what's today? Wednesday, middle of the week. I'm tired. And I know I've got to wake up at 6 o'clock tomorrow. This is going to be fun. Okay, cool. So that will equal form.cleaned data, and then, oops, we just go GDPR with the data. That should be type. So yeah. 5 a.m. there. Fair enough. That's very early. Object type, so we got that. So if GDPR object type equals user, we'll add code. Null if GDPR type equals customer, add code. Null if GDPR equals organization. Alright, cool. Add code. And then we've got to return data. Yeah, no, this will be good. So I'm just scratching my eye. I'm just wondering how we could do this as one giant object, but once again, we don't have the is deleted field. I feel like we can do this in a smart way. I honestly feel like we can do this in a smart way. So, before we continue, let's go over here. Let's go open up our source VM bin activate. Let's go Python 3 manage shell. From NearBeach.models, we're going to import everything. Easy done. Let's go customer.objects.filter. It's deleted as false. We get something like this. Easy done. Everyone's quite familiar with it. If we do, but what we want, if I put in a equals that, and let's say b equals a0. If we go b dot customer first name, we've got that. And what we kind of want to do is socks fluffy but. Then we want the organization. So we want the organization. Yeah, so for a customer, we want it to print out something like that. And I'm just wondering if we can do that all in a single select statement. Oh, good. Yeah, we're trying to remember if we can do this. So, select from where. So, for example, this is using ORM. So, we're just selecting everything. So, customers object.filter. Now, in Django, you can put a dot values at the end, and you can actually just grab the values. So, a good sort of example would be customer.objects.filter. Let's just filter for everything, and then we go values, and we just go customer first name and customer last name. And we actually just get those, like the customer first name socks, the customer last name fluffy. Now, what I could potentially do is annotate the data, so I've got all of it in here like this. And I'm just trying to remember how to do it. Django, RM, annotate. Annotate join fields. Combining annotated query sets. Actually, no, it might be Django RM. I might be using the wrong word. Just give me a couple of seconds. Django RM join fields. You're probably right. Header form, join on multiple fields. All right, cool. Value list ID flat equals true. Picture objects filter to select related. We don't want to perform a raw query. Actually, I think this is annotation. So if we go customer.objects.filter, we're filtering for everything. Annotate, and then we've got, let's call a field Bob equals. I need to import more stuff. Give me 2 seconds. Need to import more stuff. So from Django, this is where I've got to actually look this up. So F and V. All right. So we go up. We go customer.objects.filter.annotate. Just double checking how we do the annotate. So yeah, there is no quotations whatsoever. So we're just going to go Bob equals, and then in here you'll see we've got the field. So I'm going to go field customer first name plus value of a space plus a field customer last name. And it didn't like it. So what type of field I want to return? Essentially what I want to do is I want to have, for example, the customer's first name, their last name, and we've just hit ads. Give me a couple of seconds. I'll explain this out. I know you're not in ads. So, and then we want a little hyphen, and then we want the organization. So we kind of want something like that. We should be able to do this as a string, yeah, as a string. We should be able to do this in the Django ORM. I do have a feeling we have done something similar like this before. And yes, welcome back to the ad break. I don't think we're using something like full name. But I know that we have combined fields before. We've certainly used weird sort of paths and stuff like that. Alright. Django RM combine fields. Concatenate, yeah. Alright. Oh, I need concat. So you're on it. Concat as one line. Yes, you were correct. It is, and it's part of annotate. Alright, sweet. Anyway, thank you very much, Poop Chew. And welcome back, everyone. Alright, so what we want is we want both annotate and concat. And we still need the fields, so we still need the Fs. So going with this, what we need is, let's go customer, the objects. I'm just going to go all for the moment. Dot annotate, and then we got, let's say I'm going to call it Bob equals, and I've absolutely screwed up again because I didn't call the thing I needed in. So from Django, can't spell. Let's actually just go over here and copy this particular function. Let's paste it in. Easy done. And then we just go customer.objects.all annotate Bob equals, and then they've got it as concat, and then we've got the field, and the field will be customer first name. Going back here, a comma, and then the value, yep. So V, that will be a space, and then an F, customer last name. Concat object has no attribute values. Alright, I'm not too worried, because I've just mucked up that. So we need that, and then we need values, and then we just go Bob. And there we go. So we got it. So we can actually do this. And then, for example, I might want to do that, and then go values, space, do all of that. And then we want to do the field, and that will be the organization ID under organization underscore name. And there it is. That's what we need. All right, so easy. We found a solution. I'm going to get rid of the forms. I am going to go over here. So we are just going to paste this in here for reference. Now, from Django dot on HTTP, what is it? From Django DB models dot fields import concat. No, not fields. Functions. Alright, from Django.db.models.fields import, I think we want, no, not fields, alright. Is that also in functions? Nope. Bob needs to be in the commit for sure. Yeah, fair enough. All right, give me a couple of seconds as I think this through. We had the values and stuff like that. F and V. Oh, they're just directly off models. From Django db.models import F and V. Oh, value, I should say. And then, yes. Now, I don't think I can get this in a string, but we're gonna work with this. So what I want to do is with the annotate, I want to grab all of that. I want to copy that, and I just want to go A equals that. Okay, so if we go A, we've got that. We're quite happy with that. Then all I need to do is go customer.objects.all.annotate A, and then .values Bob. It doesn't like that. Oops. So, yeah. I was hoping that would work because then I had an idea where I could actually shrink down my code to just be a couple of lines. It'll be a data array, a data dictionary, and then that's it. We just call it, and then we send out the data, and it doesn't matter in what sort of format it is. Because we'll pre-package the SQL how we want it. All right. Oh, hang on. Let's try something different. Let's get rid of this. So we've just got that. And if we go A, we should have that. Then if we go customer.objects.all, annotate, and let's say value, value equals A. And then we go values is value. That works. That works perfectly fine. Yeah, all right. But then I don't need to actually do... I'm probably going to do something horrible, aren't I? I am. I totally am. Everyone's going to hate it. So that works a wonder. Instead of having all of this like that... no, I don't want to do something horrible. Never touched Vue or Django prior to 1 hour ago, so keep that in mind. Oh, wish I could share some sugar. Fair enough. Yeah, no, all good. All good. Now, the thing racking in my head is what I could do is I could have a data dictionary, and that will contain all the sort of Lego blocks of putting this SQL together. That way I don't have this if-else-if sort of statements. I can get rid of those. I can be like, all right, cool. This is the object type. I'm going to shove that into the dictionary. We're going to feed out the values that we're just going to run this pretty quickly. But as I'm thinking of that, I'm like, well, I could completely and utterly have a data dictionary and have all the expressions written out inside it in perfect, so I don't need to assemble them. It's kind of like getting a pre-assembled house. A Lego house, that is. And I'm just like, yeah, I could do that, and it's going to make my life a lot easier. I'm going to get rid of this if sort of kerfuffle. Because remember, these are lazily low. Sorry, Django RRM is lazy Yeah, it's lazy. Completely and utterly lazy. It only runs when it needs to, and we only need it to run after when we need to send the data, when we convert it into JSON. No, we're still using ORM. We're just going to use a dictionary up here, and we're going to call it GDPR search data objects. So I should have GDPR. So I'm going to have it like that. We're going to have customer. We're going to have organization. And then we're going to have user. And I know people are going to hate this. They're going to hate it. So from NearBeach.models import, we'll go customer and organization and user model. Because yeah, the user model, yeah. I have to let the dog back inside, so I'll miss that bit again. All right, so we're creating a data dictionary. Inside the data dictionary will be all our ORM to its completion. It gets rid of the if statements, the else if statements, and the good thing is because Django ORM is lazy, it only runs those statements when I actually need it to. So at the very last minute. So if I pass through customer, it'll get out that customer. None of the other ORM calls will actually run. So I am doing a bit of a cheat here. So we're going to go objects.filter is deleted equals false. And then we want annotate. And then we want to have the value equals. And then we need concat. And then we have the field that we're getting, customer first name. Then we have the value of just a space. And then we have the, now because we've got a couple of expressions in here, this is where I sort of split it out here, and this is where people will be like, oh God, what is this object? Why has he done this? Customer last name. And we'll have a value. And then we'll have organization ID under organization name. And that's for that. And then we'll have dot values. And we'll just have value. And we'll have customer ID, which will all... We've then got to have the ID in here. See how this is getting very very weird. Just to get rid of a couple of if statements and stuff like that. All right, so we've got that. Easy done. And we'll also write up the other two. Then the idea being is we don't need any of this. What we need in here is we need the results equals GDPR search. I keep forgetting if it's that or that, and I think it's that. We'll double check this very quickly. So I'm going to go A equals customer Frank. Yeah, it's the square. And if I do A Bob, it'll come with an error. Alright, cool. You're right about it being static. So the good thing is this ORM here that I've selected, that will be static. That will never change or anything like that. That will actually output the SQL that we want when it's run and so forth like that. So yeah, you are right in the sense that this will be static. It will be static in the sense that the SQL it outputs will always be the same. That won't change at all. So yeah, and all I'm doing is I'm feeding through a value, being like, I'm looking up in the dictionary, being like, all right, which SQL statement do I want? What is assigned to customer? So that the customer, so that will be our customer table. So if we were to have a look in the, let's go VStudio. So in here we've got, I think I can use this one. Let's say select everything from NearBeach customer. So that's the sort of basic sort of SQL in there. The ORM, that's what it is in the ORM. So customers.objects.filter. Is it a query or is it a result set? How do you execute? So the execution will happen at the last minute. And usually that's just me either sending that data back to the front end or converting it into JSON and then sending it back in to the front end, or it's used somewhere else in the code. So it's executed at the very last minute. So if I were to, let's use this as an example. Let's say we're in here, we go in here and we just go GDPR object type. We add code to do other stuff in here. Let's say I do a bunch of stuff in here. And then I finally use the results here. All right, so I pull the stuff out of the form. I shove that into this, let's say it's customer, it pulls out the customer SQL. And then let's say I do a bunch of stuff. It hasn't run that SQL statement yet. It hasn't run that SQL statement. And let's say I finally do something with the results here. That's when it'll actually run the SQL statement. Why does filter return a populated query set in example if it is executed last minute? Do you mean over in the terminal? Just not familiar. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. It seems like the SQL is executed before the function executes, since the global within that file. The worst it will do here is it'll just create that SQL statement. And it won't execute it because I'm not calling it up here at all. I'm not processing this at all. And that, well, that's the theory. Yeah. And then if I pull it out here, it just sits on it until I finally do something down here. I don't know why I keep hitting the F1 key. So Django RM lazy. I'm just seeing if this has a little bit more data on it. Or examples. Okay, cool, yeah. Oh, that's perfectly fine. Yeah, at my 9-to-5 job, we don't use ORMs. We use a lot of classes and stuff like that, and we use stored procedures for fetching data and so forth like that. And well, I guess the classes you can technically say is ORM, all that kind of stuff, but I wouldn't say it's like ORM like Django. So, yeah. Feel like losing it? No, perfectly fine. It's a new concept, so don't worry. I actually like the ORM system in Django. So, yeah. Alright, so I'm going to quickly do the other ones in here because all we're doing is we're grabbing the results, and then what we want to do, I can in fact shrink this down to just be form.cleanData and then GDPR object type. Get the results, and then we just convert the results. And then we send back the results. So going up here, we now want organization.objects.filter. Once again, we are filtering out the is deleted equals false. And then what we want in here is annotate. I've just realized I'm actually going to do one more thing up here. I'm going to put the customer ID in there. Yeah. It's good to know how other places do things and stuff like that, because it sort of branches, when I say other places, I mean how other languages and other frameworks do things, because it sort of branches your knowledge out, being like, oh, okay, I never thought of doing something like that. And then, hey, one day you might be going, hey, can I actually do that in this language? That seems useful. And the next thing you know, you're like, oh, cool, I've learned new functionality about this language. Which does happen to me sometimes. So, yeah. Alright, so we want to have the value equals concat once again. We want the organization name to pass through along with the value like this. And then, sorry, that's going to be value. And then what we want is F and then organization ID. Pretty simple sort of stuff. And then what we want is we also want the ID equals F organization ID. What if you have two functions accessing GDPR search separately? One already referencing a group search one second ago. The next one does the same with a reference to GDPR. Is the result already there, or does it execute the new query? Good question. So I will show you an example. Because I can. I just got to find the example, so bear with me. I do believe under object data, we do this quite a lot. All right, here is a good example. So this is one particular table. I would lean on more of a template. So in this particular one, we've got the object results, and we're just searching everything from object results. So that's quite simple. To put that into perspective, that would be select everything from NearBeach object assign. I think that's the object assignment table. Yep, object assignment table where one and is deleted equals false. Cool. So that's a very basic sort of query. Now that doesn't run there. That actually just sits there in the object form. And then let's say, I'm going to go with the easy one. Let's say this is a false condition. We jump down here. All right. No, this is going to be confusing because I go into an object and stuff like that. Let me actually find a example where I have it all in one spot, sorry. All right, let's just take it like this. So we've got the object results up here. This is doing the same sort of thing, except we just got an actual condition. All right. I'm just skipping all of that, and we're just going back down to this one query down here. So this is the last sort of function where it's been used. You can see that I actually reference it in here. But what I do is I'm like object results.values, and then I do that. So this doesn't actually, it shouldn't run here. From what my understanding is, it won't run here, but what it does is it gets this original query and just goes, all right, cool, I want to actually key this value in here like this. And then I'm going to nest that into the exclude statement where the ID doesn't equal anything in there. Or the ID in there, and so forth like that. And then it constructs this, and it doesn't run this yet. And then when we're down here, this is where it runs it. So it's like, oh, cool, JSON dumps. Oh, sweet, list user results. All right, sweet. I'm gonna run that now, I'm done. So that's my understanding of how it gets run and stuff like that. However, I might be incorrect on that. To a function response outside of the function using the actual response. How does reference work if there's two functions referencing an external value? Oh, all right. My guess is because these are pretty much going to be static, it should just reference them and then pull them out. All right, no, Because yeah, when I boot up, I'm pretty sure these won't run. Pretty sure, fingers crossed. Yeah. no, it's all good. It's all good. Because yeah, I was under the assumption I could do something like this, and it should be perfectly fine. It doesn't run until I actually need to access that data. Yeah, no, all good, all good. All right, I'll quickly finish this particular thing. So value, concatenate, then we've got the values. Oops, I forgot to put the dot in there. Wait. And then we want the ID. And then we want the value. All right, and the user will be the user model.objects.filter. Actually, we don't have a dot filter, so it'll be an all sort of statement. Oh, and we've just hit our another ad break tonight. All right, cool. Cool, we can get in there. Socks ran away, so it's just me. She's probably in her bed at the moment. She has multiple beds, so she's probably in the bedroom. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna do that like that. Okay. All right, I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna get this sorted. Alright, and then I am done. There we go. How are we with the ads going? Alright, about 20 seconds left, so not too far. And yeah, I've just got to do the user models. That's going to get all. Got to do the annotation. Yeah, ooh, annotation might not work. And welcome back, everyone. I've just realized that we might need to force people to not use custom tables in NearBeach. We did have a request like a year and a half ago where someone was like, hey, can I use custom tables and stuff like that? I'm like, we haven't really set it up for that. But they wanted to connect it with their project. I don't know if they're using NearBeach still. Yeah, so, oops, dropping my cube. Having a think. Problem with the custom tables is we don't know what people are putting in as their field, so we don't know if the GDPR will allow that. Alright. This sucks. We might fall back onto the user table in this sort of case. Yeah. So I'm going to get rid of this. And I'm going to go from Django.auth. Oh, not auth. I forgot where the user table is. Alright, it's been a while. I mean, I could potentially just use a user model. But the one problem is, if the user doesn't have... yeah, now it's going to crash. No, we should fall back on the... Yeah, we should fall back on the user table. Might need to do something about that. Actually, we'll just use the user model. Okay, that's not going to be a problem. I'm just going to jump over here. I'm just going to jump into the admin section. Unable to connect. That's just because we made a bug. Somewhere. String object has no attribute object. All right, cool. Not a problem. We'll just do that. We'll figure this one out in a few seconds. So we're just performing all of that. Sweet. We're just going to jump over into the admin. The reason why we want to jump into the user tables, let's say the admin table, we want the username, we want the first name, last name, and email address. We actually want quite a bit of data for this. Let's search for the models table. So, it is Django contrib auth. That's why I couldn't remember it. Because it's that really... Oh, escape, thank you. We're going to use the user table. So, user objects all. Annotate, and then we'll have the ID equal the value username, and then we'll have the value equals concat username, and this is where we are using multiple different layers of this, and then we want to go dot values, and we want to do ID and values like that. So we've got that, we've got the value, and that's just going to be like that. And then we've got the F, and that's going to be the first name. Value, that's just going to be a simple space. And then we've got last name. And then we've got the value again. We've got a separator and then F email. So that should be all fine. We're quite happy with that. So going in here, we now need to convert the results. Having a look at this, we've got all of this with the user results and stuff like that. I think we just need to do this one line in reality. We do need to include JSON up here. So we just go import JSON, easy done, great fella. We go results, and then we just need to import the JSON, the Django JSON encoder. Easy done, I've just done that right then. And that should give us some results. So we've got two decorators, making sure that they're logged in and making sure that they are a super user. So only super users can do this, not just an admin user. So I'm going to hit refresh. We've clearly broken something. All right. Ooh, the annotation ID conflicts with. Oh, cool. No, that's perfectly fine. Get rid of it. Cool. We can use the ID. The ID is essentially this number up here. Easy done. We can ignore the username. Cannot resolve values into fields. Oh. Yes, you were right. Thank you. That will happen a lot. That just, yeah. That and Label. Alright, that should be running. There we go. Alright, sweet. So I'm going to delete everything here. If we pick on customer, we've got a 500 error. Not to worry too much. I'm just going to close that. The response is big auto field, character field, must set output field. Okay. I haven't seen this before. Let's find out. Expressions contain mixed types. So I'll probably... Expression wrapper. yeah. Response to errors. Yeah, we'll fix it. Yeah, we'll get to it. Yeah. Well, I fixed quite a lot of bugs. I do write a lot of bugs, but that's beside the point. All right, so it's complaining. It's saying field error. Expression contains mixed types. So I'm going to say, in this sort of case, the mixed type for the customer would be the customer ID. No, that's fine. The customer ID here. I'm going to go value and I'm going to go string. Fingers crossed. I'm just going to hit refresh until everything comes back. Sweet. We're going to hit customer again. String has no get. All right. think I was overthinking that problem. And I think I've broken something else. Yeah, alright. Oh, oops, I'm pressing the wrong buttons there. Value. Alright. And then... GTM? Sorry, I don't know that reference. Alright, I've broken this. Error binding parameter 7F is not support. Alright, you tell you what, let's do that. Let's make sure that one particular field. Oh, Oh, sounded lazy. Oh, okay, I'm terrible with acronyms, by the way. Absolutely terrible. Someone came in and was like, oh, do you use an LLM? And I was like, what's an LLM? Alright, string object has no attribute get. Ooh, okay. So clearly I've broken something. Alright. Django middleware, yada yada yada. Okay, so it probably doesn't like this. I was hoping this would work, but worst case scenario, if this doesn't work, I've got the code here. We just fall back onto our if else ifs. Alright. We've got backup plans. Go to trace. You went too fast. I can't zoom in on the trace whatsoever. So, string object has no attribute get. And I'm just like, all right, cool. TBR search. I was going down here and quickly having a look at all of this to see if any of my code's here. We get to here. And it fails, and I'm just like, all right, cool. What I'm going to do, I'm going to do something simple. I'm going to get this to work. I'm just going to go results equals customer.objects.all.values, and then I'm just going to put in customer ID and customer first name. I just want to see this one line work. It does not give a line, yeah. Which is very annoying. So, I am going to zoom out like that. We're just going to hit refresh. I'm just going to hit the customer, and it looks like we do fail. String object has no attribute get. So I'm just going to put it on there. I can resend this. That should be... Sorry. Oh yeah, resend that. So we're here in the data. It goes forward. That query set works. And then it sort of fails. Yeah. All right. This is a bit of a weird one because we're copying the practices. Use print. Yeah. But the thing is, it's not erroring out here, and this is copied from somewhere else. On return, sorry, I'm just listening out for cats, just in case they start a fight. Now, that is a good question. What I've done over here is I've had a look at this. So we've done something similar over here where we've got the users, we're filtering, we're excluding, we're annotating, and we're grabbing values. And then we do a list, results, and all that. So this actually works here. So I was like, all right, cool. I'll do the exact same thing here because we got pretty much the same sort of structure with the code. Yes. It's a weird one. What I could do... Hang on a moment. No, I know what I've done. Yeah, I've done something silly. All right, let's try that. In order to allow a non-dictionary object to be serialized, use the safe parameters to false. All right, we're getting somewhere. Yeah, I've just done something silly. I forgot to be like, hey, can you do this? All right, that will take a second. And presto. All right, cool. Now, is it in the data structure we want? No, it's not actually in proper JSON. So I've done something up here that is wrong, but we'll fix that up very quickly by referencing what I've done in the past. JSON response, not results. So in this sort of case, we just want it as plain data. So it might actually be HTTP response, and then we go a couple of seconds. I've absolutely Django HTTP response type JSON. All right. Request a path to do something. I'm hoping that they have the content type. That's it. Content type equals application / JSON. All right, sweet. No, I'm not sure. Possibly. You might be correct. So yeah, you might be absolutely correct, whereas I'm overly complicating this, where we could just do JSON response, we will have the list results, and then we'll have the CLS. Actually, we don't need the... We probably don't need the list. One way to find out. No, let's play. Let's do it. Let's see if we break something. In order to allow... Oh, yeah. Wait. Yep. Oh, something happened. And Togglebit, how are you going? Baltro incoming. I've not yet to play it. So, yes. How's everyone going? Hopefully you guys are going well. Going like the best of them. I'm assuming you got far. You're like, yeah, we're getting far, and then all of a sudden a couple of bad card turns, and you're like, ah, damn it. Casual Rubik's in one hand flex. Oh, it's mainly just a fidget cube at the moment. So yes. Welcome everyone. I am Robotic Head. I'm working on an open source project management system called NearBeach. Today we are working on the GDPR wizard. So the idea is, so you'll self-host if someone puts in a claim being like, hey, can you remove all of my data from your system? We're hoping this wizard will help you with that. So yeah, Command int network dev tools, yep. I'm a web dev, I always have the web dev tools open, and we are joined by Socks, who likes to come in and say hi. So yeah, what we're doing is we're trying to send some data to the back end and get it to send it to the front end. I'm at that sort of last stage where I'm like, I'm doing something wrong. So yeah, cats are the best pair programmers. Yeah, Socks can be sometimes, but she likes to sleep on the, likes to body slam the keyboard and step on the mouse. So, which is rather annoying at times. Now this is saying query set is not JSON serializable. All right, that's not a problem. So I'm just going to go back to this one. We should be dumping that like that. Refresh. If we pick customer, boom. All right, there we go. We've actually got a JSON response now, where it's going to be the customer ID and so forth like that. So now that I've got that done, I'm gonna do that, and things should be sort of getting together. Well, they like to hit keyboard keys. It's not the same thing as pair programming. Close though. They're just helping with the vibe code, you know? They're just hitting random keys. Right, if I hit customer, we should get all those details. There we go. We've got the customer, we've got the ID and value. If I go next, we should actually... Ooh. We don't have it there. Oh, I think... the value, I've got those wrapped around the wrong way. Alright, I've made a mistake. Let's fix this up. So, going up here, we've got the ID as that should actually be value, and that should be label. Alright, easy done. Let's just say I made a boo-boo. Alright, and then label. This is value. Oh, yeah, that will be label. And then ID value will equal the field. That will be the field which will be ID. Alright, so I'm happy. I'm just gonna hit refresh. So if we click on customer, go next, we should now see Socks there. There we go. We do have one particular field that doesn't work, and which is why we've got the double hyphens in there. So we are gonna fix that up very, very quickly. That will be this particular field right here. So I want to do that. We're gonna hit refresh. We're gonna hit on customer. We've got a 500 error. So yeah, error binding, parameter 7, F is not supported. Yep, that's perfectly fine. So what I want to do is now that will actually have a different issue because this is a big int and everything else is characters. So I want to see if I can put that in a string to change that to a string. Don't know if it'll work. It probably won't, but we'll find out. And it's probably not rebooting because it hates that. Yeah, it doesn't like that at all. Alright, not a problem. I'm purposely going to do this. because I want to know what actually we can do with the concatenate. So I want to refresh. I want to hit customer. And in here we got expression contains mixed type big auto character field. You must set the output field. So, and then thank you very much for the follow, Coxie 1700. Welcome, welcome. I do hope you are enjoying my content as we figure out all the bugs I'm programming in. So in here, total sum, that times that, output field equals float field. Oh, okay, cool. So I've just got to go, I think, down here after all of this. Total group equals sum. Let's just go down here. Output field equals... What results do we have? Char field. I didn't see char field in there. So we're just going to do that. We're going to get the red squiggly lines. I'm just going to be like, yeah, all right, cool. Import this name, forms. All right, cool, yep. Actually, I'm going to be explicit here. I'm going to do that. All right, we're going to find out if this works or not. All right, let's go customer. No, it didn't work. Character field, option as no, get internal type. Ah, oh, come on. Ah, boo. Oh, Django DB models. Okay. Doc character field. All right. Mine follows the mouse cursor, but luckily never attacks it. Have you ever heard of the X-Face? Oh, what was it? The X-Face desktop mouse causing screen damage. It was... here it is. This is an old bug. It was reported nearly 10 years ago. So, the default wallpaper is having my animal scratch all the plastic off my LED monitor. Can we please choose a different wallpaper? I cannot expect the scratches, and why not? Let's end the mouse games over here. And then they've added an attachment. Oh yeah, I'll download that. That's just an image. And then there's the cat scratching the monitor. I absolutely love it. So yeah. I haven't used X-Face in a while, so yeah. I used to use it back when I had a very low-powered laptop, and KDE or GNOME just was not working. Yeah, I'm on GNOME at the moment. So yeah, I've been using GNOME for 15 years now. Nothing against any of the other desktop environments. It's just one of those things that I'm just used to how it works. I don't want to use anything else just because personal preference. Nothing, no other reason. Have I tried OpenBar? I've been to an OpenBar before. That was a big mistake. I have not. Oh, neat. Is this it? The GitHub README has screenshots. All right, can I get to there from here? There. Yes, I can. Proceed. GNOME shell for theming the GNOME top bar, top panel. Oh, all right. Oh, that looks nice. Not gonna lie, I like the minimalism here. Oh, alright. Tell you what, I am gonna put that over here. Because I am gonna play around with that. So yeah, thank you very much, the Unholy Diver. Alright, we were gonna do this. We had that. I didn't test this out. Sorry, I get distracted like there's no tomorrow. Alright, so we've got data coming back. Boom, that's how we want it. We should go into the next. There we go. We see socks, fluffy butt. We've got the ID. And we've got the corporation that they're on. And I just realized that we just went through an ad break. I'm terribly sorry for those stuck in ads. You didn't miss out on anything. We were looking at, yeah, desktop extensions, GNOME extensions. But we got this working, which is good. So if we go back to previous and I changed it to organization, now we've got organization isn't working. Expression contains, all right, so we know what to do now. We're gonna copy this, we're gonna scroll down, we are going to go and paste it in here like this. We're also gonna do this in here and paste it in like this. So, yeah. You're loving it right now because I finally got it set up this morning and I feel like it's super underrated. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. Yeah, I used to, back when I had time, because I've been using Linux since I was 16, so we're talking decades here now. So yeah, back when I was like 16, 17, 18, 19, I used to play around with how it looked and stuff like that, and yeah, highly enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. But nowadays, I'm just like, out of the box, it's fine. Alright, organization. So if we go into here, we should see NearBeach and corporate. Cool. Yup. And then if we go in here and go user, and thank you very much for the follow, the Unholy Diver. So yeah, welcome. And we go in here, we've got all the users. Alright, sweet. So for those wondering what's actually happening here, I'll just hit refresh so you can see it from the start. The idea is if you've got some data to delete from the system, you'll go into this wizard and you will hit the search. So you go to the screen and you're like, all right, cool. I actually want to either delete a customer, organization, or user. So if it's let's say a customer, you're like, all right, cool. We've had a customer come in. They're like, just removed me from the system. All right, customer, go next. You get to select which customer you want to actually do. We do need to input the ability for the person, for people to search in this. So you'll click on that, and then you'll go next. What will actually happen is when you actually find that user, it will collect all that data in here and display it to you. The idea being is then you look through this data and you deselect the ones which are false positives. Once that's done, you'll go into the next. We can't go into the next at the moment. Reasons. We haven't programmed that far. Once that's done, you get the data. You then do a final confirmation. And the final confirmation will make someone stop and be like, all right, cool, this is what's going to happen, and so forth like that. These are the processes. Note this will destroy data. And then, yeah, we'll get the user to go on here. Yeah, and then an automatic process will actually happen. Sorry, I've got to think what's actually happened. There's so much in my head at the moment. You know, when there's something so much in your head, it's just like, oh my god, what am I doing? I'm at that stage. So yeah, at least we've got the search working. So now from this particular search, we can actually get the data we want. So we can send it back to the back end. and be like, all right, cool, this is the data we want. The backend will then be like, all right, sweet, I'm going to utilize that data, and I am going to fetch the results for you. That being said, we've also got to tell the user, because if you've got a really large database, let's say you've got millions and millions of rows of data and so forth like that, you've got to tell the user, hey, just wait a minute or two for the data verification to actually happen. Yeah, anyway. So we got this. I'm gonna have it so when the user, let's add in the ability to search for this. So we want to go naive UI. Let's do this properly. Anytime I get to the point where I'm thinking I'm of too many steps at once, I have to break it up and step on Trello, Obsidian, etc. Trello's really, yeah. No, fair enough. Yeah. I sometimes jump too far ahead, and I need to be like, no, stop, come back, finish these little tiny things first, and then do that. Because usually if I do that, I get to the point where I'm like, oh, I need to actually do this and think about this. Now I know that there is a filter. There it is. So filterable. That's the thing we want. So we just go in here. Up here, we're just going to go filterable. And then, well, we might as well put in a placeholder too. Now this line's getting a little bit too long, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it down like this. Actually, filterable will be like that, and then we'll go placeholder. This will actually be part of the vbind, so we'll do something like this, equals, and then we're going to do something like that and go, please search for a, and then we're just going to go like this and GDPR object type in here, and we're going to do that. Alright, so we've got all of that. Oh, nearly dropped my cube. I'm just going to hit refresh. We're actually going to click users this time. We're going to go next. In here, we should be able to go, let's say, dark admin. Alright, cool. And then when we click on it, that's when I want it to get data and so forth like that. So, by management systems, is this like project management, issue tracking, or more like employing this is project management. So yeah. What data will you present? You're already prefetching options. So, for example, if I were to pick, let's say, this particular user, I'll get all the objects that the user has interacted with and be like, listen, we're going to get, we're going to change all of these values. And Yash, what's up? How are you going? Hopefully you're going well. If I were to, let's say, pick a customer and I go next and I pick, let's say, socks, what's actually going to happen is it will find all the points that that customer is connected to and be like, listen, we're going to change these no matter what you have because these are legit. However, the customer name has been referenced in the project description over here and this and that. And we're going to essentially change that with gobbledygook. So, yep. As for the project management question, so NearBeach is allow me to open up this new object. So we can gather basic organization and customer details. They're very, very basic, usually, you know, basic sort of details. You can create Kanban board. You can gather user requirements and break them down into requirement items. So for example, if you got let's say a new website build and stuff like that, you'll have a bunch of requirements and a bunch of requirement items under that requirement. You can then build up your projects and tasks. So that's usually what the dev team will handle and take care of. And then when you're ready, you've got requests for changes. So yeah. Yeah. Mentioned scaling. Wasn't sure how dangerous we are getting with fetching all users, mapping to the label. Yes. That is a really good point, Poop. Sorry, name. I'm very immature. It is a very good point. What I can easily do in the near future is I could actually fetch 10 or 100. And then what I could do initially, and then what I can actually do is when I start typing out here, I can fetch data because of what's here and so forth like that. So yeah, I can implement that at a later date. That is actually a very good point, because if I had 1,000,000 rows in here, and let's say I have 1,000 users, which could be plausible if there is a big company that ends up using NearBeach, that could easily be even a moderate sized company or a university or something like that. I can end up with a lot of users in here, a lot of customers and a lot of organizations, and having that much data on the front end is just, it's not plausible. And then being able to, manage all that, yeah. 1,000, I'll be fine for sure, yes. What about 10,000? So yeah, that is actually rather possible. We actually do that somewhere else. So if I actually go and say, let's do a new task. If I go down here, at the moment, it only fetches like, I think 10 down here. But if I start typing in, I should actually have the network tab open just to show you. Let's go to over there. If I start typing in, it actually does a search for those values, and at the moment there's nothing that sends back. But if I go NearBeach, it does a search and gets that data back. So yeah, that's very, very plausible for me to do that. What I would do is I'll put in, like, let's say 10 or something like that, to sort of encourage the person to type stuff out. Require min search characters before query next. Yes. So NearBeach, we do 3 characters before we search. And we also do this thing. I haven't plugged in my, let me just plug it in because I've actually, it's the same cord that I use to charge my, my bike light. All right, cool. So what we do is we've got a variable, let's say it's called search. Hang on, let's do a little thing here. Okay, and we've got a search timer. And let's say this is a search input and stuff like that. So when someone starts searching, we instantly start the search timer. And the search timer, I think, is 500 milliseconds, if memory serving me correctly. It's a very short amount of time. If someone were typing in, let's say, really, really fast, and they got, let's say, that many characters within about a couple of seconds, but not enough for the timer to run out, what actually happens is every single character press, we reset the timer to that 500 milliseconds. So let's say they're typing a character every 400 milliseconds or something like that. It'll do the whole entire characters, and then it will send off for the results once that timer is finished. So the idea is we're trying to fetch as few results as possible. So in this sort of case, this will fetch 1 result. Now that being said, if someone came along and they were typing really, really slowly, it will actually start fetching all the results every single time. So the first 3 characters, first 2 characters it won't, and then on the 3rd character it'll start fetching the results. hopefully I explained that okay. It is getting really, really late. My brain's turning to mush. So, yeah, I do apologize if I sound crazy. So, we've got this. We're going to go next. We're all happy with this. And then we can go next. We need to start fetching all the data that is connected to that customer. So, one thing which we will do is depending on what we're fetching depends of the results we're getting back. And all right. So we've got data that will tell the user this is going to happen for this data no matter what. And some data which will be like, all right, cool, can you verify that this is correct? So, excuse me while I just think this through. So the data we know that we are going to remove from the system will be stuff like, if we're using customers as an example, the customer connections. So if I go into a find object, let's just go into a requirement. Let's just go down into customers. Let's add in socks in here. So this is actually a known connection to socks, Fluffy. Oh yes, the unholy diver. This is Django. Yeah, Django and VueJS. So yeah. How do you like Django compared to other web frameworks? I want to get into it, but I only have experience with React, so my first instinct is just to jump into that. So I use Django as the backend. Technically a hybrid, so let me show you what I mean. So if I open up the templates, let's open up this, let's open up GDPR. So this is the GDPR web page, and what I do is I'll call my my VueJS components in here, and that's a hybrid. And essentially the template will handle all of this up here, but all the rest of the front end stuff is handled through VueJS. So it is actually possible to use a similar method for React, and then what you would potentially do is you just need one, if you're going to do it properly and only have a single page application, then yeah, you only just need one URL. React for pure front end, yeah, and you can do that. I've just done it a bit differently. There's reasons why I've done it, and the reasons just because I want the pages to refresh every single time, because I didn't want to handle the state invalidation and all that kind of stuff when someone goes to another page. More experience with Python than JS, funny enough. Fair enough. So Django is a model view controller. If you've ever used something like Laravel or ASP.NET, very, very similar. I like to say Django is the automatic car, Laravel is the manual car. There's nothing wrong with either. It's just what you want to actually do. Sometimes you want something more manual than automatic, which is perfectly fine. So yeah. I've used Avalon UI, which I believe is an MVC. Oh, fair enough. Yeah, so a lot of that sort of cool knowledge will jump over into Django very, very easily. The reason why I'm using Django is I went Python web framework over 8 years ago now. It would be nearly 9 years ago into Google. And I was like, cool, Django. Opened it up. I was like, getting started with Django, cool. And then I took the tutorial, and within 20 minutes, I knew I could build NearBeach with it. So, yeah. And then NearBeach was born. Yes, it is batteries included. There are certain things that you'll need external libraries for. So, for example, if you're going to have a API, you'll need something like Django REST framework or equivalent sort of stuff. You might, if you're doing GraphQL, I don't know what you would use for GraphQL, just because I haven't looked it up. But otherwise, yeah, you got a bunch of libraries out there that you can easily plug in. We do use a couple of the libraries, but not too many. So if we actually go down to our requirements, we use Django, of course. The Django's REST framework, of course. We've got Django 2-factor authentication and one-time password. Simple JSON's just to do some sort of simple JSON sort of stuff. I forgot what the pillow's for. I think these version where you see it like this, it's just we're making sure that users use those. Later versions due to security issues. The Boto core and the Azure Blob storage, that's stuff to handle all the sort of S3 buckets and the equivalent Azure storage. DRF Spectacular, that's just documentation stuff for the Django REST framework. And the rest down here is, yeah, just basic sort of stuff. Okay. So yeah, you can, it is plausible to just use just Django if you wanted to also. So you don't need to use all of those packages. All right, so I can close this. We're in here. So we're in the search. So when someone searches for stuff, we want to fetch that data. And what I want to do is we want to actually call it something appropriate. So if I look at fetch data, yeah, we'll fetch data. So this is get search objects. This is get. Oh, we don't want to do it in this place, do we? No, we don't. All right. This is where we're going to use Vuex. Sorry, not VueJS. No. Sorry, it's late at night. Yeah. I'm going crazy. So search results. We already sent it up. So we got the project ID. All right, cool. So I've already thought of this. I forgot that I did this before. Great news. It means I can move on to the next screen. So we want to open up this. We want to open up NearBeach. No, not NearBeach. Sorry, the source, JavaScript components. We want to open up. What do we want to open up? GDPR. Yep. Tabs. We want the data verification tab. So here we are. Cool. I'm going to import map getters straight off the bat from Vuex. We don't need props. I think we'll end up needing data. I'm just going to put it there right now. Don't know if we need components, so we'll leave that out for the moment. Select one, send ID to fetch the details, render new page, BB. Yeah. So when the user selects one, we'll update the Vuex, which will actually trigger a change on this page, which will actually fetch those results. So yeah. So here we need the not components, computed. I'm going to get rid of the data for the moment. And we need to dot map getters. And then what we need is we'll need the root URL. Get root URL. That's just for contacting the backend. This is not a function. What are we calling it? We're calling it something, and it is called GPT. Search results. That should actually be ID. So that will be GDPR object ID equals get GDPR object ID. All right, sweet. And then what we want to do is we'll have a watch, which is also an object, and we'll have GD PR object ID if this.gdp object ID equals null or empty, just return. Do nothing if empty. All right, cool. Yeah, I know. It's because we've had the discussion years ago, and we're all like, we'll do it this way. So yeah, it's just easier to be consistent. All right. So in this sort of case, what we then want to do is we'll have our methods. Is we'll get data. We'll just have it as called get data. It's fine. We've got our methods in here. We'll have get data, and we'll have add code in there because we just got to add it. And it's actually called this.get data. So that's the basics of it at the moment. What I'll need is I'll need some data. Sorry, that is a function, and that will return this. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a status, and we're going to have the status called loading by default. So if someone comes onto the screen, they'll be loading. Very plausible for us to get onto the screen in dev mode. So yeah, up here we'll have a simple div class equals alert info. Please wait fetching data. However, do if status equals loading. I mentioned earlier, I've never worked on Vue, but appreciate how declarative the lifecycle / extraction methods, easy to follow for sure. Yeah. I also like Vue. This music almost sounded like RuneScape for a second. The Unholy Diver. Yeah, this is actually the, if you know Pirate Software, his game's Heartbound soundtrack. So, yeah. Getting back to the VueJS, yeah, I actually quite like it. I learned it back in 2019, and it's the reason why I use it over React or Angular is just because I knew it. I knew it compared to React or Angular, and that's it. Nothing against those languages. In fact, I use React for WordPress sites and stuff like that because, well, WordPress has decided to go with React with building their websites. So, yeah. All right. Which reminds me, I've got to scratch up on what's new with React and stuff like that. It's been a while. I want to improve one of my clients' websites. So after that, what we want to do is we'll just have, I've got a mistake. It's got to be that. So and then we'll have down here div class equals row, div class equals col md4, and then we've got one for 8. We'll have a strong. Add data. Oh, and we've just reached ads for those. Yeah. For those on YouTube, we run ads every half an hour. Don't worry, on YouTube you don't get ads. For those on Twitch who don't get ads, that's fine. So yeah. But we tend to do this when the ads are running. Now, this will probably be the very last ad break for this evening because it's 20 to 10. I've got to leave at 10. I'm going to go to bed. I've got to wake up at 6 a.m. So, yeah. I know React super well, so I would stick with what I know as well. Yeah, fair enough. But love declarative looking classes. Would want HTML in different file, but I can dig it. Fair enough. Yeah. I've been meaning to, the thing is, I use React probably every couple of months, and the problem is because it's been months since I've used it, there's a lot of things I don't know, so I'm just not familiar enough with React. I need to build more WordPress sites and WordPress plugins and stuff like that, so yeah. One day. Alright, that is a... I've got to report that little bug on Twitch. Anyway, we are getting there. And welcome back, everyone. And thank you very much for the follow. Z1 Adhamid. Thank you very much for the follow. Greatly appreciated. Welcome. I do hope you are enjoying my content. Okay, so we've got all of this. We're happy with. Let's go test it. Let's do the cheat. So for those wondering how I cheat, in our view with the GDPR wizard, we've got the current tab. We can just bypass everything by doing that. So the good news is there's like fetching the data. So if the user gets to this particular page and data hasn't been fetched or anything like that, we'll have something there to be like, hey, just hold on. We'll get it eventually. Please don't yell. So vif, and I'm just putting that onto the other rows like that. Status does not equal loading. Only person on Twitch who says they are cheating without going to LLMs. I use LLMs as a tool. You'll see me use the documentation more than LLMs and stuff like that. Yeah, just because I grew up without LLMs. So yeah. However, sometimes they're actually quite handy. Alright, so status does not equal loading, class row. Alright, sweet. So if I refresh this, we go to the start again. I'm going to click on this. We're going to cheat again. We're just going to move that forward. Perfect. And then what I could do is with that one particular line, this is the data verification. I can just do that and boom. All right, sweet. So we'll have two sections. So this is, we're gonna have user action required and a section being like, this is just getting removed. Oops, I need to do that. We need to go class equals row. And then we need to go div class equals colon d4. And then we've got to go strong. And then here we've got user action required. And what did I say? I forgot. It doesn't matter. We need to go data data to be removed. All right, cool. Div class equals col md8, easy done, and then we're just going to add data in here. I haven't written a single test since starting with LLM. Thanks, LLM gods, but definitely write my own code. 2015, there was no such help. I don't know if it's going to help or hurt future devs overall. Honestly, it depends. I think it's there are some great sort of things when you're trying to rack your brain, being like, I don't know what to do to solve this particular solution. Let's say you're making a Doom clone or something like that. And you're like, how does this work? I think it could easily break down multiple different articles in an easy way, which you can sort of grasp the basics of it. Now, if you don't go out and read any articles or do any follow-up information, I reckon that's where it'll hurt. However, if you go out and start reading articles and so forth like that, you've got that sort of basic grasp now, and now you're just setting up the rest as foundation. So, yeah. You think it's going to hurt overall? Fair enough. Fair enough. If you ask Claude what it'll do for job market in 10 years, 25 to 35% reduction in software engineers. Good explanation, but not great code. A reference, not a crutch. Yes. Yeah. So yeah, it should be a reference, not a crutch. Another good example is all the LLMs and stuff like that should be treated like Wikipedia. It's a great place to start, but it's not where you do your research. That's where you go, all right, cool, this is the broad overall thing of this, and then you go out and you view other sources to sort of solidify that foundation of knowledge. Yeah. It will be interesting to see what actually happens over the next 10 years and so forth like that. Custom services jobs gone. Yep, fair enough. I reckon it will definitely revolutionize the chat sort of thing, because if, let's say 50% of people have a really simple sort of question that they can ask that an LLM can handle. So, for example, let's say someone's on a site, chatbot pops up and the person's like, all right, cool. How much does this VM cost per month? And stuff like that. Yeah, it could potentially answer that question. And then if they ask something specific, being like, hey, with the ARM controllers, does the instruction list support this? Then something like that where it can't, I reckon it'll be good to feed that onto a human. So yeah. I've seen personally how it's affecting artists. They are mostly struggling to get work freelancing, and companies now are using it to cut down jobs, so it's ruining a lot of lives already. Yeah. No, I can see that too, but that's mostly artists and designers. Only time will tell who's next. Yeah. Ask it how to prepare for impacts it will bring. Basically, be rich and invest in AI and companies who will profit from robots' labor. Yeah. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what happens. But we've gone through similar sort of things before. So, for example, the ATMs replaced a lot of like the bank tellers and stuff like that. But yeah, sure, the definition of those jobs disappeared, but it also at the same time created different jobs that weren't around. So it created technicians, it created the IT infrastructure, and so forth like that. So it will be good if it sort of introduces new jobs. Yeah. We'll introduce new jobs, new perspective on customer service. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know what's going to happen, but I do find it interesting what will actually happen. Because yeah, hell, the internet has stopped people from, nowadays you buy, let's say movies and stuff like that. Nowadays you buy the tickets either online, usually online, or through an app on your phone and stuff like that. You no longer have to wait in line and so forth like that. So, it's a lot less people working at movie theaters, maybe. Don't know. Actually, don't know that fact. I don't know if there are, but that'll be interesting to know. I think AI is more significant than things like the calculator, machines, etc. This is something that is more significant than the internet. You can pack the internet's worth of knowledge into an AI for offline use, making internet inferior for the future. Fair enough. Yeah. It's a lot of information too. Alright, downloading. So if we go back into here and we do this, oh, I need to actually come up with the words I want to say too. Okay, GDP wizard. We're just gonna bump this over into here. We are going to go in the wizard, not the search, sorry. We want the data verification. We're just gonna get rid of that. And user action required. So we're gonna have p class equals text instructions. Please note the following data will need to be reviewed by a human. There can be false positives within this data where there can be false positives within this data where the text in the description can be overwritten. Please uncheck if you do not want this data overwritten. Alternatively, alright, cool. P class text instructions. Alternatively, you can go to the object and manually edit the data. Please untick row if you would like to take this step. Alright, cool. But that could be a good thing. We could make monolith machines to send to countries who can't afford internet and allow them to learn from it. Yeah, yeah. By monolith, I mean the shape, not the. Or do you mean this? One space odd. Honestly, monolith. There we go. You meant that, right? The monolith. Very large, with lots of GPUs. Fair enough. Alright, so if I refresh this page and I do what I did to get back there, so current tab, bang, bang, like there. We're just also going to go data verification. We're just going to get rid of that loading. So we've got a sort of description. So user action required. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some space between the user action required and the data to be removed. We are also going to do if statement. So if there is no data in here to be removed or user required action and stuff like that, we will what we'll do, we'll just no data. We'll have no user action required. This will be a pretty big ORM thing to actually do. What I want to do is I want to separate them. So I'll do that right now. I'll get it looking nice. So we want to do a couple of breakpoints. So breakpoint and then HR. We've got a spacer. We'll use a spacer and a HR. So I'm just going to refresh. Actually, I had to wait for it to compile. I'm going to hit refresh. So we're going to hit the GPR wizard. We're going to bump it again. No, not that far. I went too far. There we go. All right. And that HR is showing. Okay. we'll see what it looks like, because once again, we're just playing around with this. I'm going to get rid of the HR. And then what I can actually do is I can put the spacer in there. All right, I am just going to hit refresh. Don't know why this is on this page yet. That's fine. We'll fix that up next time. It is hitting 10 o'clock here, so we'll quickly finish this up. We'll hit that. We'll go into here. We'll get rid of this loading. We'll just have it as a string like that. And I think that looks a lot better. And then, yeah. All right. Then Quantum, up until recently, internet required undersea cables with lots of work to connect information. I can use an LLM offline with no internet access and have all the information available. Yep. I am trying to think. Okay, not what I wanted, but an article I read a while ago, like we're talking years and years and years, well before LLMs, was talking about an expedition to the Antarctica, and someone was bringing an offline copy of Stack Overflow. For some reason, I think that's what the article was about. It's been way too long since I've read it. So, yeah. Up until and saying someone who is generally not pro I can't move forward without network info. You can trade AI offline too. GitHub. Oh, yeah. All right. We're going to have some fun. The Arctic Vault. So, for those wondering what this is, GitHub/Microsoft decided to essentially get all the code on, selected code on GitHub and put it in an Arctic Vault. So, yeah, I forgot about that. And the fun thing is, oh, isn't it on, hang on. Oh, we don't, oh, there we go. Yeah. So, NearBeach made it. So, yeah. My old doc files are in there. Oh, no. So, yeah. Back in 2020, NearBeach was selected for archival, which was kind of like, oh, sweet. Still have the, oh yeah, fair. We moved NearBeach from Robotic Head NearBeach to NearBeach. I finally set up a team and yeah. All right, it is running late. I am going to, actually, I'll finish up quickly so everyone knows where we're at and so forth like that. So, there's a couple of bugs I've got to fix, but this page is coming together. The idea is, my beard game has improved since that picked. Oh yes, I do actually need a trim. It's not as long as COVID beard. For those wondering what happened in COVID, I was in Melbourne, which experienced one of the longest lockdowns ever. Essentially, hairdressers were locked up and all that kind of stuff. So what do? You just let their facial hair grow. I think I got it down to here or something like that. It was just massive. I didn't die. didn't die, but it was not a fun experience. I was glad when the lockdowns eased up and I was able to, you know, get out of the house. So, yeah. And then shortly after I got hit by a car. Great fun. Long story, don't worry about that. Alright, so with the GDPR wizard, we're on the data verification page. So, your great uncle did, but he was 94. Ooh. Yeah, yeah, COVID, yeah, fair enough. But 94, that's a pretty good age. Pretty good age. Luckily, no one I knew died from it. And I didn't get it till end of 22. So, yeah, there was a close call for me at one particular point where I was having a shoulder operation. Big, bit of a story there. And yeah, I got it when I was coming back overseas. So yeah. Had it in December when it all started, was worried at the time. Yeah. When I got it, I was already vaccinated and all that kind of stuff. So it wasn't too bad. But yeah. I haven't had it since though. And I've been vaccinated for it. Yeah, I had the vax today, in fact. So, yeah. Alright, so yeah, we've got to continue with this. The idea being is when we get the data, it'll show up here, it'll render out. We'll probably have lots and lots of data in here. For the start, what we'll do is we'll implement it so it just renders all out. And then we'll implement pagination or something like that. I don't think the user action required one will have a lot of data in it because it's looking at just for their names and so forth like that. Got to poke fun. Yeah. Spelling of data here. Data. Spelling there. Data. Uh-oh, what have I done? It is highly likely that... Cracks me up. Oh, fair enough. Let's find someone to raid. I'm just having a look who is running at the moment. The syncs. Alright. Alright, I've narrowed it down to 2 devs. Alright, I know who to raid. I think I have raided Avocado Violet once. Yeah. Anyway, thank you very much everyone for coming tonight. It has been wonderful. We got a lot done. Yeah, nice to chat to you too. Yeah, well, I try to be engaged as possible. Hopefully I will have my second monitor up so I can have both YouTube and Twitch together, because if you haven't noticed, I've been looking here and then I've been looking over there and then I've been looking here and then I've been looking over there, just because I don't have YouTube and Twitch on the same screen. So yeah, learn some Vue and Django. Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. So yeah, I highly enjoy them. Anyway, I've got to run because it is past 10 o'clock. I've got to get packed for tomorrow. That requires me pretty much packing up everything and getting to bed early. So, thank you very much, and I do hope you enjoy Avocado Violet. So yeah, thank you. And thank you very much, everyone, YouTube. Sorry you can't join us with the raid, but I do hope you come back, and don't forget to like and subscribe.